Hello. Welcome to episode 2, season 2. Love is Reckless. Kia moves to London. And you had to know I was going to go live today. I got the fresh bob. You can see all about my experience. First time getting my hair done in London on my TikTok. So different content for different places. But here on YouTube, I'm so glad you guys are joining me. It's all about my journey in love and in moving to London. So last week I talked about the decision to the steps it took to get to this point of moving to London, but I neglected to really say what I'm studying. So I am here studying to get my master's of arts in musical theater. I would like to, of course, work on musical theater productions, but I would also like to write them. So I am actually on a writer's path to produce musicals, to produce and write them. So that's what I'm here for. I didn't say that, and I wanted to make sure that I shared that. So that's the whole process. Again, I've really been enjoying my classes, but I'm realizing that this particular journey is about so much more than just getting my degree. So this week's episode is about letting it go. So last week, I got the opportunity to go with one of my flatmates to see Frozen the musical, which I had not seen. I was super curious about. Y'all, I'm just gonna be whipping my head. Just know you're gonna get a lot of distraction today. Um, but I got to see Frozen the musical with one of my flatmates, and y'all know I'm a Disney kid. I love Disney. Um, for the nostalgia. Like, let's not get too deep into it. We'll cover that in another episode. But for right now, I'm just talking about the nostalgia of Disney growing up in the 80s and 90s, always wanting to see what the Disney princess was going to do and the prince coming to rescue her or whatever, right? Like I said, we won't get into all of that this episode, but ultimately, I love Disney. And this particular musical was special to me because for once, the princess wasn't being saved by a man. She was being saved by her sister. So Frozen always had a special place in my heart, even though I was real grown by the time it came out. Still, I love that they switched up the story and made the love about a familiar love instead of just about romantic love. So we went to see Frozen. And of course, everybody knows the big ballad is Let It Go. And that really kind of stuck with me. Um, as you all know, I'm here. I am doing things solo, and even so much so the podcast, which is now a vlog. Last season, I had a co-host and a friend that we hosted this together, and I said I was going to be transparent, and I am. We are not co-hosting together, obviously, because I'm in London and I'm doing this on my own. But also, our friendship went through something that was very hurtful for me, and I realized not just him, but also so many things that I'm having to let go as I move into this new season of my life. And I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about that. Have you ever tried to work out with weights on? I don't know how crazy your trainers are, but back in the day, there used to be these like ankle weights that people would ask you to wear. Or have you tried to work out with bricks in a book bag? All of that extra weight really is hard to move in. It creates this type of resistance in your body because you know you're going to have to push so hard to get off the ground. And while some may argue and say that it's a great training tool and resistance and to build up certain muscles in your legs or whatever, in the scheme of life, when you're trying to move and you got extra weight on you, not only does it make it harder, but it also psychologically makes you not want to move. It doesn't make you necessarily want to push harder. And that's what I'm realizing. I've been trying to take a lot of people with me on a lot of journeys, and it just was extra weight that I needed to let go. And that was very hard for me. If anybody listened to season 1 and all the different episodes, and some of those episodes I talked about my upbringing as a child. And so I moved around a lot as a young person. My dad was in the military. We were a military family, and I was always having to let go of things, whether I was ready to or not. I lost friends all the time. I never got comfortable in a school. I didn't get to grow up with people. Didn't get to have a first date until I was like basically in college. Um, I was constantly having to lose things. And so when I became an adult, I really held on and hold on to people and things. And I didn't like to let go of things. The first lesson I got in that was when I started to do contracts on boats in rooms similar like this. I would have maybe a 200 square foot room, 350 if it was like a newer boat. And there's just not a lot of stuff you can have when you are in a quarter that small. And so I got used to constantly letting go of things, uh, reassessing what was important for me to hold on to. And that was literally, figuratively, and metaphorically. Um, on those contracts, also, those of you that know, there would be like 7-day cruises or 14-day cruises or 30-day cruises, but I'm there for 4.5 months or 5 months. So people were constantly leaving. And so you can either put yourself in a shell and be like, I don't want to meet anybody because people are always going to leave, or you could start to embrace the moments that you had in front of you. So when I started those contracts, that started the first process of me being okay letting go of things and being present in the moment and accepting things for what they were. Now that I'm here and things and people and ideas that I didn't want to let go of, it's coming up again that I'm realizing I just have to let things and people and ideas go. Um, and when you let those things go, it really does open up space and room for you to receive something totally different and maybe even better. I'm going to argue probably better. This week, like I said, I went to see Frozen with my flatmate, and she was just such a breath of fresh air. We were talking, and there were so many similarities that we have just as being women in business, but also in relationships. And she was helping me even see, like, hey, there are people that you're trying to hold on to that obviously I've only met you for a week and can tell that they don't recognize your value. Whew, that hit. Literally, she hasn't known me but 2 weeks and she could see that. So that was really helpful. On top of that, I've been opening myself up to meeting new people and finding new places. I went to Notting Hill, yes, like the movie, yesterday, and went thrifting, excuse me, thrifting, which was totally unique and unlike anything I have ever experienced. It's not like thrift stores back at home. Like these felt like straight boutiques. So I will definitely do that again and take you all along with me and do an episode, kind of just showing you that experience. But I really, really have been dealing with the letting it go, and I wanted to kind of sit in that and share that with you all. Again, this particular season, um, I want to be a little bit more transparent than I have been. I haven't had all good days. I had a really weird day a couple of days back, just meeting some people that felt a little aggressive, and made me feel uncomfortable. And I just kind of felt like, what am I doing? But also having that northern star of trusting my spirit, trusting the work that I've done, trusting myself to know that I'm gonna be okay. I know how to get out of situations that don't make me comfortable. So that's where I am. So what are you holding on to that you need to let go? Why don't you put in the comments? I got to figure out how to turn comments on because I feel like the comments are not on. But what are you holding on to? Are you holding on to an idea that by 25 you were going to have achieved this, or by 30 you would have had this, or by 40 you would have had these kids, or bought this house, or by 45 you would have owned a business? And what are you holding on to that you just need to let go of? Is it an idea? Is it a person? Is it a relationship? I have to date this a little bit. The news just came out about Will and Jada being separated for 7 years, and it's like, wow, we really look at people and believe that what they show us is the truth, but people can show you whatever they want you to see. And that's what they did for 7 years. But what I started to think about is, how did you live in that for 7 years? Like, lying to everybody. And people say it's your business, do what you want. And I agree with that. But they went through extreme lengths to make it seem like they were still married. And I just felt really bad for people who feel like they have to be fake, for people who feel like they have to present a certain idea because that's what the world expects. That must be a very sad existence to have, where you're living for everybody else but yourself. I don't want to live like that. I don't want to live in spaces and be with people that make me feel like I have to put up a front of what I am and who I am and how I'm feeling. In the tagline, I put, not throwing away people carelessly, because I also feel like we're in a generation where everybody's so quick to block, so quick to unfriend, so quick to, delete. And to me, that's cowardly. I said it once, I'll say it again. It's cowardly. There are some people that you absolutely just got to let go on and move on and do whatever you need to do. But if there is a relationship that's important to you, the mature thing to do is to have a conversation. If both of you realize that, you know what, this is an impasse, I'm headed this way, you're headed that way, it's been real, we're going to go separate ways. That is a healthier way of dealing with relationships and letting things go. Sometimes it doesn't work out like that, and that's okay too. But I always try to make sure that if someone mattered to me, if an idea mattered to me, if a creation mattered to me, before I just throw it away, I want to make sure I've done everything I can to understand, is there not a way that we can come back together and fix it? And so I would caution you on being too quick to unfriend and throw away. What are you really afraid of? Are you really afraid of having a conversation and saying, like, man, I didn't realize that affected you that way, or you know what, I was kind of wrong, or I don't feel like I was wrong, but let's talk about why you think I was wrong. Those are healthier way of having conversations and letting things go. And even after those conversations, you may decide, you know what, we have run our course and it's time to move on. You have that option too. So this week, let it go. What are you letting go? I am letting go of dot dot dot. Share with me what you're letting go. I know that I am letting go of ideas that I have for myself. I'm letting go of this idea of an age means a certain thing. And I'm letting go of what y'all think about me, which I didn't realize I held more weight than I should have. I really hate when people misunderstand me. But the bottom line is, someone is always going to misunderstand you. It's just, are they willing to try to understand you? And if you're not willing to try to understand somebody, hey, you're going to be in a weird kind of world, because you're always going to be having to collaborate, and people aren't going to think like you. So anyway, that's also something I'm learning in this course, is a lot about collaboration and communication skills and listening and really hearing people. That's the other thing. Sometimes we listen to respond, but we don't hear, we don't process, we don't take in what someone is saying. So anyway, episode 2, let it go. Let it go, y'all. Let it go. I am committed to this process. Thank you so much for joining me, all 22 of you. I don't care though. This process, again, this season is about my growth and the things that I'm doing in love for myself recklessly. I'll see you next week.